Thank you, Ms. Kelly from the great state of Illinois, as well as Mr. Payne from the great state of New Jersey. I just want to be able to, as well, to extend my support for the confirmation of Ms. Loretta Lynch for the position of Attorney General. As a New Yorker, indeed a Brooklynite, a former Bronx district attorney, as well as having worked at the Justice Department, I have the utmost respect for Ms. Lynch, who has served the people of New York and indeed this great country, is eminently qualified to be the Attorney General and should be confirmed. I additionally, Mr. Speaker, would like to discuss another issue that is of grave importance to the people of the territories. That is territorial voting rights. As we commemorate the 50th anniversary of the March on Selma this week and the subsequent passage of the Voting Rights Act, I want to once again call to the attention of my colleagues here in Congress that there are still American citizens today who do not have equal voting rights. While we may discuss the irrational and truly illogic mechanisms which has excluded those who have been convicted of felons from society for voting, I want to discuss another group which has been disenfranchised. That is some 4 million people, to be exact. These are citizens of Americans' island territories, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Northern Marianas, American citizens who willingly risk life and limb in defense of a great nation for which they do not have a vote. American citizens who, in their great patriotism, have paid the ultimate sacrifice, the sacrifice of their lives, and in this last conflict in Iraq and Iran, have died at a rate of 7 times the national average. Citizens of the current U.S. territories have bravely fought in every American conflict, indeed including the American Revolution, when we have given our own person in Alexander Hamilton from the Virgin Islands to fight in that war. And some have even been awarded the Medal of Honor, which is the nation's highest military honor. But yet these citizens who have contributed and sacrificed so much still cannot vote for their commander-in-chief. This inability to vote has a direct correlation to the poverty and disenfranchisement in so many areas that the people of these island territories experience. Poverty in the 21st century is a shameful reality in our great nation, and for decades it has been a serious and persistent problem in the Virgin Islands. Child poverty for us in the territory is a heartbreaking reality. In a recent report from the Community Foundation of the Virgin Islands and Kids Count, 31% of the children in the Virgin Islands are living in poverty. To further underscore this troubling statistic, Virgin Islands families are struggling with very high costs of living, driven by the fact that much of our food supplies must be imported, along with the very high cost of electricity. We pay some of the highest prices in the nation. And while thankfully the American economy is on the rebound and reports of job growth is very good news, unemployment in the islands on which I live is at 15% or more. The benign neglect of this great nation to the territories has got to end. Each island that was bought for military purposes, and now it is believed by the country that the physical geopolitical need is not there, the people have been forgotten. Indeed, some have questioned whether the people were ever remembered on these islands, that the land and the resources were what this nation wanted, not the people. But we have contributed much, and we deserve better. Not tying citizenship and the right to vote to the soil, the sovereign soil, on which an individual is born, controverts the most basic English and thus American law. Mr. Speaker, Virgin Islanders are proud people who have dedicated their families, committed their faith, and are so very willing to work hard for a better, brighter future for themselves, their children, and indeed this country deserve the right to vote. I yield the balance of my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman Plaskett. And thanks for educating our public on the challenges people on the islands face. And also your words are so pertinent as we go to Selma to remember the events of 50 years ago. It is now my distinct honor to call to the podium the gentleman